Throughout many of the cups, we found ourselves saying that Sunday, Championship Sunday in the grand final was for the boys, but now we have a new competitor stepping up on this Saturday. It's going to be easy money, and it's going to be not only, obviously, we've talked a lot about one composition. We have mentioned the fact that they may play that double Fire Mage setup, but they have other compositions as well. Those other compositions have done them well in this tournament. It was one of the things that they did have to use to get here, but they've taken out some serious teams. Super Geniuses, that's Novos' team. Then they were able to take out Method Orange, literally one of the best teams in the entire region and the world, and then Fox's Banditos, which is SSDS's team. So every team that they have taken out has people who've competed on the biggest stages, right? Like, this is a real team to be paying attention to. How important do you think switching comps is going to be now that the bakery is open?
Well, I don't think they're going to be running Warrior Mage into the cleaves that the boys usually run. I think we're going to see the bakery open for business.
Now, for anybody who doesn't know how this composition works, obviously we've been having a lot of fun talking about it. I know you guys have streamed this composition so many times. What can people actually expect here? How is it going to work, Zico?
So they're going to be playing double Fire Mage, most likely with a Feral Affinity Resto Druid, and basically the setups go, and there it is, ladies and gentlemen, the bakery is open. We're going to be seeing Bert and Varin. They're going to be specced into that Greater Pyroblast, that G-Pie, and they are going to be looking to sheep up Chun-Li or Thugonomics, maybe get a ring on Goreki, and they're both going to be channeling out those, going to be casting, going to be baking those Greater Pies onto one of their targets. At the same time, the Druid is going to be trying to stun lock whoever they are casting those Greater Pyroblasts on and go for basically big one-shots. I expect Chun-Li to be a very juicy target for them, but also Goreki.
Oh, Goreki running that Feral Affinity. I'm curious to see if Easy Money decide to go after him at all. Pressure onto Varin early on, crowd control onto Tuna. This could be a cauterize so early on. Bert trying to save the day. Polymorphs on Thugonomics managing. They actually get the cauterize from Varin through the Iron Bark. That is not a good start for the bakery whatsoever.
Yeah, definitely not ideal. I'll have to see what Bert and Varin can get done. Typically, Destruction Warlocks are really good into this composition. They have a lot of Destruction with Fear, with Spelllock, with Mortal Coil, and Shadow Fury. So single-handedly, he can shut down a lot of these Greater Pyroblasts, but as long as Thugonomics gets interrupted on Fear, he gets spam polymorphed, that's an opportunity for Bert and Varin to try to build up some damage. But I think Goreki, Chun-Li, and Thugonomics are relatively experienced in this matchup. One Greater Pyroblast, potentially a second, but Chun-Li's just going to respond. He's going to respect with the Touch of Karma, and I think it's likely he plays very defensive from this point forward. Fortifying Brew as he moves forward. Oh, I'm a little bit scared for Chun-Li right now. All he has is the Diffuse Magic. Goreki with no Iron Bark. Beautiful offensive Cyclone, but good damage here onto Bert. Might be able to get the Cauterize proc from him as well. Chun-Li forces out the Cauterize, and now both Vern and Bert are very exposed targets here, as none of them have that cheat death mechanic from the Fire Mage.
One Greater Pyro, Varin preemptively temporal shielding on these Chaos Bolts. Another Greater Pyro, Chun-Li is able to duck around the corner. It's basically, you need two of those from both mages at the same time to really be threatening. Currently with the positioning Chun-Li has, he can escape to safety if he needs to, but he won't be able to if he's polymorphs, as we see Varin and Bert cooking up some double Greater Pyros. Ursul's Vortex almost pulls them into a double stun if Chun-Li had waited just a moment longer. Thugonomics is trying to ramp up some damage, looking for crowd control. Securing a Fear, not onto the Restoration Druid, onto the Mage, a little bit peculiar. These mages need to be careful. Without Cauterize, they can't rely on that to save themselves. They're going to have to predict the damage and Ice Block at a much safer margin. The pressure from the boys here is stellar. Thugonomics on that Destruction Warlock is devastating.
Yeah, definitely. Chaos Bolt's being cast out. Vern and Bert just looking for resets, and this composition is all about just destroying someone 100-0 very quickly. It's not necessarily about consistent damage. You're always looking for setups. That's why you see them throwing out polymorphs onto Chun-Li out of the polymorphs. That's when they try to go for the cast. But when you have Thugonomics backing you up, you have Goreki constantly going for these restelts. It becomes very difficult. Chun-Li now getting really aggressive with the Touch of Death and Maledict onto Bert. It does manage to redirect a lot of the damage, but still forced into the Ice Block. And I mean, for Easy Money, this is not looking good for them. They don't really have too many defensive cooldowns left to work with. The boys, they got some from Chun-Li, but now Touch of Karma is rotated back up. Diffuse Magic, Fortifying Brew. Chun-Li's going to be feeling healthy. Bert is not, as he's caught into a leg sweep. One Chaos Bolt lands. Thugonomics gets caught into a counterspell, into a polymorph, and now Bert looking for a greater Power Blast, but gets interrupted. And I have to say, the boys have been doing a great job so far, making sure they shut down a lot of the damage Easy Money has available.
Yeah, right now it's looking less and less like a bakery, or more and more like a bake sale. There's just been no pies cooked up by the team of Easy Money. They make a desperate swap to Gorecki. This is what I was hoping to see them try and do. With that Feral Affinity that can burst him down, he doesn't have access to Frenzied Regeneration. Varen blinks in, gets the greater Pyro, but Bert is being pressured away. He can't get in line of sight. He could easily fall as Toon is feared off into the distance, now bashed up as Bert's likely to fall as the boys close it out here against the bakery. Temporal Shield's a couple seconds away for Bert, catching a quick heal, staying alive for now, and staying in the fight. Tuna needs to try and look for a drink. Both these Druids running Feral Affinity, looking for re-stealths, getting access to a free stun on their team. Definitely important to set up their caster DPS friends, the Destruction Warlock and the Fire Mage. There's just been so much disruption on these greater Pyroblasts. We've never seen even more than just one casted at a time. Bert under fire. That Iron Bark needs to be enough for Bert to survive. Thugonomics goes all in. Unending Resolve to free cast Chaos Bolts. Really trying to end this right here and now. Trying to close down the shop, but not having enough damage to do so.
Yeah, double greater Pyroblast being channeled out by Bert and Vernon. And they only really need one good setup. Thugonomics gets
that punish.
A lot of incoming pressure. Gorecki, how's he going to handle the situation? Unending Resolve was already used by Thugonomics aggressively, and now Gorecki with no Iron Bark. Thugonomics is really vulnerable. Bert looking for another greater Power Blast, gets stunned on it. Unfortunately, Thugonomics now retreating, and I think he should be fine. Baron gets one more off, but Thugonomics getting topped off. I think he's going to be fine. Now Touch of Death committed onto Bert. Bert struggling to survive. One Chaos Bolt connects. Polymorph spam coming in from Varen, trying to slow down the damage from the boys, but I just feel like Bert, he's in so much trouble with Tuna into a fear. What is Bert going to do? He drops out the Ring of Frost, but Chun-Li all over him. Bash onto Tuna, and Easy Money gets shut down so easily in this matchup.
Yeah, you know, really excited to see this comp play out on broadcast, and all of a sudden we don't see it perform the way that we really do expect it to. Is it different on the tournament environment than it is on live? Is that what it is, or is this going to just be a performance issue?
What I think it is the boys just have a really good composition into what Easy Money's running. Destruction Warlocks are hard to deal with, so what I'd like to see Easy Money do is really focus on just instant damage setups on the Gorecki. He's running the Feral Affinity. When he pushes in, he gets aggressive. That's when you double combust with a bash, and you're going to get every single defensive cooldown from him. If you can rinse and repeat that, that's definitely a win condition for Easy Money.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I want to see more damage onto Gorecki. He's running the Feral Affinity. You want to stun him up, and then you want to get those big combust setups, because on the TR you have so much damage, especially with Bert actually running the Wildfire and the Master Blaster instead of the Flames of Alacrity that we like to run. So I personally like to see more setups like that. Yeah. And if you have Thugonomics standing in the middle of the map, another great thing you can do is, of course, just counterspell Thugonomics on Fears, on Chaos Bolts, and then actually just take him down, because when you lock those, the Shadow School or the Chaos Bolt, which locks every school for a Warlock, you can set up big damage at the back of that. Chun-Li doesn't have as much disruption as Thugonomics, and even if you don't kill him, that allows you to get a lot of pressure out and then look for more opportunities off the back of that.
Do you think that Easy Money may have to close the bakery?
They need a new recipe.
Yeah, I think the recipe really is just those combustion goes on a Gorecki, especially because he is playing that Feral Affinity. Like I said, you can kill him through Barkskin and Safeguard Trinket quite easily just with Combustion Meteors, Fire Blast, Pyroblast. A lot of instant damage going to be available for that Fire Mage. So if they can get that off, set it up appropriately, there's no safety net of it.
Also, are they playing Goblin?
No, they're not. They're playing Dark Iron Dwarf.
They're throwing.
So when we do actually look at the boys and everything that they've done here, obviously there are some criticisms for Easy Money, some things that we may want to see change. But let's talk about the boys. This is a team that time and time again has looked fantastic. Out of all of our top teams, they're the one who appears to be in the best spot here, right? Like they look at this bracket and the boys are probably like, this is a great weekend.
This is exactly what they needed Thugonomics for. We rarely see Thugonomics, even though Destruction Warlocks are so good because of the strength of that Windwalker Death Knight. Smexon on the Death Knight has really stepped up hard for the team of the boys, and they've been having tremendous success with that composition so far. But when you go up against a team like Easy Money, all of a sudden that setup really isn't that great, and that's where sort of the flexibility of having Thugonomics come in on the Destruction Warlock really is going to help them for a recipe for success, so to speak, against Easy Money. And I think seeing that that from the boys is impressive for me, because in that last matchup, they seemed to have a game plan, execute perfectly. And
yeah.
That was on purpose.
Yeah, I know. It was really good, dude. Okay, so we are going to see that they have that recipe for success with Thugonomics, and this is also, it's not only a Warlock, right? Like, it's not like, this is one of the Destruction Warlocks, right? So they have so much to offer here. The boys really do have a very, very strong lineup that can adapt to pretty much any meta here. Easy Money going to be in a different situation. We're going to have that double Fire Mage. We expect to see a lot of it. How do the boys ever get forced into a position where they need to change their comp? Like, is that something that's going to happen here? Or do we think, Zico, that the boys are going to just be able to run this throughout the entirety of the series?
I feel like as long as Thugonomics is free to do whatever he wants, they will be able to do that. And as long as Gorecki isn't really punished for what he's playing, then they will also be able to just keep disrupting these greater pies that are being baked. So I personally, like we already kind of mentioned, I want to see just the instant damage setup onto Gorecki, force out his trinket, force out everything. Sometimes you can even kill him through that with the triple Maledict trinkets, and you have 2 Kleptomanias as well. So it's really, really tough for a Druid who's not playing the Guardian Affinity to actually survive an all-in like that. And then, of course, after that, you can just get those greater Pyroblasts out. It doesn't matter if you're doing it on Chun-Li. It doesn't matter if you're getting them out onto Thugonomics. If you can counterspell Thugonomics, both of you guys get a greater Pyroblast off. That's going to put Gorecki in a world of stress. That's going to allow your own Druid to go for restuffs, get setups, get stuns out, and that's going to just keep building up pressure, and that's going to keep the oven rolling.
Yeah, and I do want to kind of bring up once again, Supatees. We know that Easy Money was able to take down Method Orange, and this is a team that has so many of those compositions that in the meta are absolutely bonkers, right? And is it all on the back of the Warlock to break up what the double Fire Mage can bring?
I mean, it certainly is an annoyance for sure. It's definitely, I would say, the best specialization to bring in a Warlock. Typically, when facing a Mage, if your main goal is to just make the Mage not get any of his potential burst off, if a well-played Warlock is going to be able to do that. So seeing Thugonomics shine here against Easy Money is definitely a nice treat. Will they be able to bake up some pies here in game number 2? We're about to find out as Bert and Varen are sneaking around the outskirts of the map. They catch Gorecki! Big catch here for Easy Money. Huge hits. Gorecki manages to escape, but at the cost of basically his entire defensive lineup. He's still being pressured. Maybe they're just all in. I'd love to just see an all in on Gorecki, hunt him down, try and get him taken out very early on, but looks like he's able to recover now. He's leading the charge for the boys.
Yeah, Bert in a lot of trouble here. Ironbark looking to deny, but Ice Block is forced out onto Bert. And sometimes as that Fire Mage, you really can't rely on the Cauterize, especially if the enemy team is using the Gladiator's Maledict on you. It will absorb that Cauterize heal. So it was good that Bert just decided to trade out that Ice Block before Cauterize, as it was likely he was going to just die through it. But he could just die anyways. Thugonomics still getting out huge pressure. Gorecki moving in. A lot of pressure. Boom. Chaos Bolt lands onto Varen, the wrong mage. That was, I don't know if that was a misfire from Thugonomics, but I think that would have just killed Bert.
I think maybe Thugonomics thought Bert was going to be able to line of sight, so he tried to fake him out, go after. Oh, Chun-Li gets bashed! Multiple greater pyros incoming. Chun-Li diffused magics. He's going to stay alive. Varen down the back foot. Bert falling behind. Tuna really struggling. Gorecki sneaks in a Cyclone. Both mages in trouble. It is Danger Town for the bakery. Chun-Li as well, though, is an exposed target. Is he just going to go all out for the kill? He might overextend and go down, caught in a polymorph. This could be potential for Varen and Bert to set up. Double greater pyro. 2 in the oven. Tuna jumps in. They both connect. Chun-Li in tons of trouble as he gets bursted down, barely escaping to safety around the corner. Close call for Chun-Li.
Definitely Hellstone from Thugonomics going to be paying off huge for Chun-Li in order to survive. And honestly, right now the boys, they have a lot of pressure, but Chun-Li very vulnerable on this Windwalker Monk. This is definitely aggressive play here from them, and it can be punished by Easy Money. Luckily, in that first exchange, Gorecki was in bear form when they opened up on him, so he's not going to get punished too hard. He didn't have to trade out his trinket. That means now that Bert and Vernon, they do once again have combustion available. Gorecki still has his trinket, Arskin, Ironbark to work with, and that really is going to be the main threat from Easy Money. Big pressure on Varen once again. Tuna caught into the bash. Ice Block is forced out, and now both of these mages incredibly vulnerable.
Yeah, both these teams are just playing it up brutally. Just no signs of defense by either side, just all out trying to go for kills. We haven't seen playstyle like this in quite some time, and it's very risky to do, but maybe they can pull it off. Maybe that's how they can penetrate through the defense of the Destruction Warlock, is just by going all out. Let's just try and get a kill. Who cares what it costs us? Try and catch them off guard, but so far the boys have not been caught off guard. Easy Money finally retreating away into a better defensive position. Bert gets caught, trying to blink back, looking for one greater Pyroblast, but without Varen casting at the same time, it's a lot less threatening. Chun-Li has his entire defensive lineup. This is looking solid for the boys to close. They've got a significant mana lead. What can Easy Money do here? Now caught into a fear, Thugonomics pushes forward. Touch of Death available. Double Polymorph. Usually Polymorph is where we see the greater Pyros be set up, but they're so far behind that they're just unable to. Finally, double greater Pyro being cast. Chun-Li stalls both of them.
Oh, nice plays. Beautiful spear hand strike on Bert with the paralysis on Varen, able to shut down that play from Easy Money, who was looking to set up onto Gorecki. That was really, really nicely done, and the boys consistently shutting this down. They definitely know the win condition of Easy Money. So far, they've been doing a great job to deny that. Varen taking some pressure. He gets interrupted. Interrupt on Bert as well. Both greater Power Blasts being stopped. Thugonomics now looking for some Chaos Bolts. Finds one on Bert. He uses Temporal Shield to deny a lot of that incoming damage, but still Thugonomics casting out a lot of Chaos Bolts here as Easy Money is forced to retreat.
All right, Tuna, is he going to sit down for a drink and regenerate mana? It doesn't look like he's just jumping into the fight, bashing up Thugonomics. Meteors connect, but Iron Bark from Gorecki easily stalls that push. Maybe not. Double greater Pyros. One in the sky. Thugonomics tucks around the corner, takes the hit. Gorecki recovers quite easily. Chun-Li looking like he wants to push forward, but line is sighting greater Pyroblast at the same time. Tactical push here from the team of the boys as Gorecki jumps in, trying to initiate for the kill. Gets deflected with the Dragon's Breath, but then responded to by Thugonomics' Infernals. Dark Soul, big burst potential. If Thugonomics can get in line of sight of anybody here, he might use the Unending Resolve aggressively. Goes for the Mortal Coil, combos it into the Bolt. Huge hit onto Bert. No block for 2 seconds. Is he going to fall? 1 second. Ice block available, and manages to stay alive, but I'm going to chalk that up to a little bit of luck on the side of Easy Money.
Yeah, 1 second left before that Touch of Death was about to end Bert's World of Warcraft life, so definitely a little bit lucky there. Fortunate timing for that ice block. Gorecki still making an offensive push, and Gorecki's just been constantly re-stealthing, finding these bashes, even gating in on top of Tuna to make sure he's playing aggressive and setting his team up. One greater power blast on Chun-Li. He's getting low, but with Bert having no ice block, he can safely use the Touch of Karma without the threat of that being removed and can redirect some of this damage. He's going to be feeling confident, pushing forward, still finding some good damage on Bert. Leg sweep was traded out with the Storm, Earth, and Fire. What is Bert going to do? The beautiful Vortex by Gorecki, setting up Chun-Li, pulling Bert back after he blinks away. Once again, Ring of Peace denies a greater Power Blast from Varen, and the boys really have been doing an excellent job with all the tools they have to shut down Easy Money. What is Easy Money going to do? Another Chaos Bolt lands onto Bert. He's looking to run away, denies with the Dragon's Breath for a moment. Tuna has to keep him alive. Fists of Fury all over Bert. Chun-Li could be in some trouble as well, as Varen is counter-pressuring with his combustion, but I think it's Bert that's ultimately on the back foot.
Yeah, Tuna crowd controlled for some time. Thugonomics looks to close this out. Gorecki secures the kill. The boys now put Easy Money on match point and look to close the bakery.
Bert gonna feel the hurt there. Tuna gonna get canned. The boys gonna pick up another victory. They are on match point, but some real pressure this time. I really do feel like this game looked a lot different than the first one did. Some opportunities where it looked like the boys may be going down.
Yeah, and Chun-Li was very low. Gorecki as well got low a couple of times. Unfortunately, I don't like the map pick. How do you feel about the map pick, man? Because I feel like every time Chun-Li got low, he just ported behind a pillar and he was fine. Whereas on a large map, Chun-Li has to actually hard commit before he can do that. I'm not sure. I think that the map is more aggressive in the sense that you can go after Gorecki more, but at the same time, the setups on the Gorecki, they weren't that clean. There was one where Varen used his combustion and Bert was kind of holding on to it. There was a lot of times where they didn't. You want to get the setup out of a crowd control in an ideal situation. You want to get a Dragon's Breath into a ring on Gorecki, and then you want to have both mages just double meteor, spamming
throw the ingredients in the pot.
Yeah, throw the ingredients, mix it around, get the dough, and then go.
That's the strategy.
Get the dough and go. Did you write that down?
Did you write that down? You got the recipe?
It's a secret family-owned recipe, by the way.
Get the dough and go right after this. Now, we all know
Oh,
it's a piece of cake to bake a pretty cake, but it seems like cooking up some pies is going to be a little bit more difficult for Easy Money as they enter Ruins of Lordaeron.
And Menzies going to be substituted in as Tuna's going to try and cook a tuna casserole instead, closing down the bakery, trying to mix it up and bring in some diversity. This composition did allow them to beat the Banditos earlier on in the tournament, but it's not a super potent composition. In the past, it used to be strong at dismantling Destruction Warlocks, and I'm interested to see if it is still the case even after that Demon Armor addition to the class.
Yep, Easy Money. The spice was not nice, so they have to switch it up a little bit. In game number 3 with everything on the line for this team. The boys looking to clean sweep on Ruins of Lordaeron. Thugonomics going to be shut down. And typically the Warrior with the Fire Mage is going to be good.
Oh, they're going after
here,
Gorecki.
but it looks like they're actually going after Gorecki, potentially trying to really punish that Feral Affinity. What is Gorecki going to do? Honestly, out of all the Druids I've seen in these tournaments, Gorecki has done the best job at surviving, but a huge all-in onto Bert. Gladiator's Maledict completely absorbs that Cauterize. Temporal Shield is going to do nada, and the boys easily close out game number 3.
You know, my father told me this a long time ago. He said, son, there's no such thing as easy money, and we're going to see them get deleted from the tournament. Zico, what happened in this final game?
Well, the environmental inspectionists came and closed down the bakery. Not gonna work out for them with that Warrior. Great timing on that Maledict, of course. We always talk about against Fire Mages, you have that lifeline with the Cauterize. Basically, when you take lethal damage, you have that little extra heal that then ticks down your HP. But with a well-timed Maledict Trinket, you can completely negate that, and that's exactly what happened there, taking Bert down off guard, and probably a little bit of a miscommunication between Tuna and Bert there on that one as well. We can actually rewatch the entirety of the game because it was so short, and basically what the Easy Money wanted to do is essentially take down Gorecki, maybe in a Stormbolt into a Hammer of Justice, but Bert completely was out of that setup. You can see Menzie is gonna be looking there. There's a counterspell onto Thug, but then Bert gets kicked into a, so we see a fear onto Gorecki as well to give Bert some time. Thugonomics spamming out the fears, prevents Bert from getting the damage off, and also prevents Tuna from getting his heals off and his Hammer of Justice, and then Gorecki following that up with a nice rake stun. Thugonomics getting a juicy Chaos Bolt as well on that one, and that's it.
The last time I went down that quickly was when Cloaksy was healing me in beta, and I haven't seen it since then. So that's just going to show the prowess of the boys here. Supatees, what do you think the rest of the tournament looks like for them? Because now all of a sudden they throw Easy Money down to the Sharks yet again.
I think the
Wait, is this a rematch? Does the rematch happen now? Wait, does Easy Money play against Method Orange now?
Yep.
Yep.
They beat Method Orange before. I just noticed that. Sorry to completely just cut that question short. How do we think this rematch plays out?
Well, I mean, if they lose again, I'm going to say it's a throw on Method Orange. Maybe you get fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, like shame on me kind of situation. I think for Method Orange, their compositions are more than suitable to take down Easy Money for sure in a rematch later today, but maybe they're sweating. You never know. And if Method Orange are sweating, that's a good opportunity still for the move, which is really the name of the game for them. They need it. They need to finish in first place. They really need Never Lucky to get out of the tournament right now. It would also be of some benefit if Method Orange just gets knocked out right now. They're basically begging that those two situations occur while they somehow beat the boys, who compositionally are going to be a mountain to climb. I'm very interested to see that series play out tomorrow between